Toni Storm retained her AEW Interim Women's Championship in a four-way match over Britt Baker, Serena Deeb, and Athena on Wednesday, but the story came after the match was over. Jamie Hayter is back, officially back with Britt Baker, which sucks because I figured they were finally going to be breaking these two up after a year of this. But it was all a big swerve, and so they're best friends again, Jamie Hayter back in the shadow of Britt Baker. But as they were beating down the baby faces, they played an unfamiliar theme song that I did not recognize, and then they threw the name up on the big screen, and out walked Paige from WWE, only she is no longer Paige. She is now going by her first name, which I have been mistakenly pronouncing as Saraya, and she corrected everybody on Twitter and said it's Saraya. So Saraya made her AEW debut on Wednesday. She walked out to the ring, the heels gave her the ring, and Saraya got inside, and she did the whole "this is my house" thing, and she got a huge reaction. So I was in the building, and nobody knew who this was for until the name. When the name hit the screen, even before she walked out of the tunnel, the place exploded. And then when she walked out, they knew who it was. She got one of the biggest reactions of the entire show out of anybody. So she came out. She was an instant star there. And this is a woman who has not wrestled a match in 5 years. This is a woman who has not even been on WWE television probably in 3 or 4 years. So she's had a lot of time off. She's not The Rock. She's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. But she comes out and gets that kind of reaction. That's a credit to her. Back when I thought there was still a chance that Sasha Banks might come to AEW, I thought that she could be a game changer for the women's division, because it might force Tony Khan into changing the way he books the women and how much time he devotes to them. Saraya could be that game changer that I thought Sasha could have been. She was the face of the women's revolution in WWE. Right, her and Emma, they had that match at the first TakeOver special. Whether she wrestles or not is going to have a lot to do with that, though. If she's not wrestling, then what kind of role does Tony Khan have in mind for her? If she gets back in the ring, that's where she's going to have the most impact. If she could be cutting promos on people and having big matches, and there's no shortage of people for her to work with. You know, when she came out on Wednesday, she did the belt motion with her hands on TV, so that's one sign that she's either wrestling or she's planning to. But the rumor is that she has still not been cleared to wrestle, and she's not been cleared to take bumps. In light of all the rumors, Saraya went on Twitter and said, "Ignore the dirt sheet clickbait, see you on Wednesday." And they are promoting that she will be on Dynamite this Wednesday. They have not said what it is that she will be doing, but obviously we'll get the promo explaining why and how she came to AEW. WWE are the ones who let her contract expire in July. Paige was still employed. Some people were shocked to find out that Paige was still under contract to WWE for all these years because she hasn't wrestled in so long. She was under contract with them, and they allowed her contract to expire in July. She did not want to leave. It was not her choice, but that's how her career there came to an end. She has a history of neck issues. She has scoliosis. She was told 5 years ago that she has the spinal cord of a person that was in a severe car crash. A doctor comes over to you and tells you, hey, you got the spinal cord of somebody who was in a severe car crash. You can understand why WWE would not clear her to wrestle in one of their rings. She has not wrestled a match since. She was the SmackDown general manager for a while. She managed the Kabuki Warriors until she had to leave to go get a follow-up neck surgery. She, at one point, claims that she offered to be a mouthpiece for Ronda Rousey, but they didn't go for it. She was always trying to come up with things that she could be doing on the show. It is very clear, based on her past statements, and just common sense, that she wants to get back in the ring and wrestle again. Now, it'll be interesting to find out exactly what went into her decision to go to AEW, because she did make a funny remark on one of her Twitch streams back in July. Somebody said, "Would you go to AEW?" And she laughed and said, "Sure, if they'll pay me enough." But Triple H made an off-color remark about her years ago on a media call when he was talking about the possibility of Edge and Paige possibly one day returning to the ring. He said, "I would love to see them step back into the ring and compete. More importantly than that, though, I would like to see them live long, healthy lives. You know, Edge has kids. Paige, maybe. She probably has some that she doesn't know of." And Paige wasn't very happy about that. And he got a lot of blowback and a lot of backlash for making that comment. So I don't know where things stand as far as Paige and Triple H are concerned. Because now Triple H is the one running the show. Did that factor into her decision in coming back, in wanting to go to AEW instead of trying to work something out with WWE? Because the belief is that WWE wanted her back. Now that Triple H has taken over, overtures may have been made to her. They wanted to try to bring her back into the fold. And she ended up going to AEW anyway. And I just wonder how much of that... It's possible that to her it's all water under the bridge, not a big deal. You know, he apologized for it. I don't know if he did or not, but how much of that may have played into her decision to not go there, but to go to AEW. But I said this a few months ago. If her doctors say that she can do it safely, or if the AEW doctor examines her and tests and says, you know what? We think that you can safely get back in the ring, then she should have the same opportunity that people like Edge and Bryan Danielson have had to come back and wrestle. WWE thought that it was serious enough that they would not even let her take bumps for all those years. So that's a concern. But if a doctor examines her and says, I think it is safe for you, maybe with some limitations, to come back and wrestle, then she should be able to, even if only on a part-time basis. I don't expect to see Paige back in the ring wrestling on television every single week, even if it was only on a part-time limited basis. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, Athena, Serena Deeb, Ruby Soho, she's got plenty of names to work with. All people that she's never stepped in the ring with before. They would all be fresh opponents. But you saw on Wednesday night with that reaction, this woman is already an instant star for Tony Khan. But like a lot of other ex-WWE stars that he has brought in, it's up to him to make sure that she doesn't become just another face in the crowd. Now on Rampage, which they taped on Wednesday, I only went back and watched parts of the televised version. I didn't see the entire thing. But I did go back and watch the opening match, which was a lot of fun live in the building except for one moment in particular. And then one bump I actually missed most of. But it was Sting and Darby Allin against Brody King and Buddy Matthews. No disqualification. And it was a wild match. There was one point where two tables were set up outside the ring. Sting was climbing up to the top rope. And Brody King came up from behind him and shoved him off. And Sting crashed through one of the tables, but he smashed his head on the second table. And when he came up, he had a gash on his head. He was bleeding. That was very scary. When I saw his head hit the edge of the second table, it was very, very scary. But aside from the cut, he seemed okay. He was able to finish out the match. And, at the end of it, he was smiling and everything. He even cut a promo backstage when the match was over. But this all built to a surprise cameo. Now, Tony Khan coming into the show said that he had a few things up his sleeve. Paige debuting was one of them. This was the other that he was referring to. Sting was in trouble. He was handcuffed to a chair. Buddy Matthews was about to use a baseball bat, take a baseball bat to his head. The lights go out, and when they come back on, the Great Muta comes down to the ring, mask and all. He gets into the ring, and at first he teases that he might go after Sting, because he and Sting have history together. Sting and Muta feuded over the NWA television title back in '89. They had a match. It might have been at Starrcade that year. They had a match. There was a tag team electrified cage match where they were on opposite sides. They wrestled each other and they teamed together back in New Japan. They teamed together for the last time in 2004 at an independent show. So a lot of history between these two. Is Muta here to attack Sting? And then, of course, he turns around to face Buddy Matthews, who comes at him and Muta takes him down. He spits the green mist in his eyes. And this was the spot that I missed. And this is what I had to go back and watch on TV. This was brutal. So Matthews is misted in the face. He's blinded. He can't see. He kind of goes backwards. And he bumps Julia Hart, his own manager, off the apron. And there was another table that was set up on the floor outside. The idea was he would bump her and she would take a table bump. The problem is that she went back so far, she overshot the table and smashed her head on the concrete floor. She didn't even hit the mat. She hit the concrete, exposed portion of the floor. And obviously this table was gimmicked to hell because she barely touched it. And yet her ass on the way down took a chunk out of the table. Now, Julia Hart, she's not that big, okay? Julia, I don't know what she weighs, but she doesn't weigh that much. She certainly doesn't weigh enough for her ass to take a chunk out of the table. Looked like Jaws took a bite out of the table. But the majority of her body took the brunt of the blow on the concrete floor. And I didn't see that live. I must have missed that. But I watched it back and holy shit, she's lucky that she got off injury-free. She seems to be okay. I don't think she's concussed. But man, that was a scary, scary bump. But in the end, Sting gets the win thanks to the assist from Muta, and they embraced when the match was over, and it was just one of those great, unexpected moments. And since then, we have learned Pro Wrestling Noah, which Muta is part of. I think Muta's the president, I believe, of the company. Pro Wrestling Noah announced on Saturday morning that Sting is going to be coming to Japan. He is going to be coming over to Yokohama on January 22nd, 2023, for an event that they are dubbing the Great Muta Final Bye-Bye. This is the retirement of the Great Muta character on January 22nd, and it sounds like, just based on the announcement they put out here, Sting is not just going to be there, but he's going to be tagging with him. He's going to be wrestling. This is what the announcement said. It was the Great Muta who came to the unexpected rescue of Sting on AEW Rampage Grand Slam this week. This incident triggered him to partner with Sting at the Yokohama Arena event. So how about that? Sting and Muta in Muta's retirement match are going to be tag team partners. That's very cool. However, February 21st is the actual retirement of Keiji Muto. So they're doing a retirement match, a retirement show for him at the Tokyo Dome. They're going big with this. Usually you hear about New Japan running the Tokyo Dome. Pro Wrestling Noah is going to run the Tokyo Dome on February 21st for a Keiji Muto retirement match. So I guess they're doing the Muta retirement in January, and they're doing his actual final match in February. So anyway, that's the plan there. And again, very cool for me to be able to see Muta live. I'm trying to think back if I ever saw him live. I don't think I ever did. But this is the last time I'll ever be able to do that. So to see him and Sting in the ring together like that after their history was very cool.